Core North India on ensuring early child care. Publicis Sapient Consulting Private Limited on Gram Uday. Renew Power Private Limited on Renew India initiatives. 3R Zero Waste Private Limited on A World Without Waste. SAP on Code Unnati. Tata Power Company Limited on ESG initiatives on biodiversity conservation. Tata Consultancy Services Private Limited on building greater future. Vedanta Limited Delhi on Nand Ghar. So these are the companies who are participating in this exhibition. The ESG CSR exhibition is an important initiative to show commitment of companies towards environment, society, and economic sustainability. There are many people and organizations who are doing remarkable work, but either they do not want to showcase their work or their work is not visible somehow. This exhibition shall help in spreading awareness about such best practices. So do visit this exhibition whenever you find time and see the company. Secretary may arrive at any moment. May I request you all to kindly put your mobile on silent mode? today honored to have the virtual presence of Honorable Chief Guest Rao Inderjeet Singh Sahab, Minister of State, Minister of Statistics and Program Implementation Planning and Corporate Affairs. We have with us our respected Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Shri Rajesh Verma Sahab. Shri Rajesh Verma is a 1987 batch IAS officer of the Odisha cadre and is currently serving as the Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. Sir, we welcome you and we are honored to have you here today. Mr. R.N. Devak, Deputy Representative, UNICEF. Madam Anita Shah Akila, member of the elite Indian Audit and Account Services, currently serving as Joint Secretary at Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and Madam Nandita Mishra, an IAS officer of 1993 batch, currently working as Economic Advisor at Ministry of Corporate Affairs. We will welcome you all and our respected DG and CEO, Shri Praveen Kumar sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming them. Let them hear your applause. Thank you, sirs and ma'ams, for making it possible and for accepting our request and inaugurating this event, promoting impactful CSR and good governance in light of requirements under Amrit Kaal. Ladies and gentlemen, I, Dr. Lata Suresh, on behalf of IICA, welcome our esteemed guests and dignitaries today on the 12th June 2022, which is the iconic day of the week of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The iconic week was inaugurated by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji on 6th June at Vigyan Bhavan, New Delhi. Today, IICA is privileged to host you all for celebrating this day-long event full of knowledge sharing, networking, and experiencing the best practices being adopted by the companies on ESG CSR. Please do visit the exhibition where you may expedite such best practices. As this is the inaugural session, we would begin by taking the blessings of the Almighty, as it is our tradition in India. May I request our dignitaries, Honorable Secretary Sir, Shri Rajesh Verma ji, DG and CEO, Shri Praveen Kumar Sir, Mr. R.N. Devak, Madam Anita Shah Akila, Madam Nandita Mishra ma'am, to kindly light the auspicious lamp. Let's pray to God. Requesting Inderjeet Singh Dhariwal sir, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, to kindly join in lighting the lamp. जैसे कि हमारी परंपरा है, किसी भी शुभ कार्य से पहले हम परम पिता परमेश्वर को ध्यान कर उनका आशीर्वाद लेते हैं, उसी परंपरा का निर्वहन हम कर रहे हैं। सरस्वती माँ विद्या और ज्ञान की देवी मानी जाती है। उनके आशीर्वाद से हम सदा प्रकाशमान रहे, यही हमारी छोटी सी प्रार्थना है। आइए चले पृथ्वी से आकाश की ओर, अंधकार से प्रकाश की ओर और अज्ञान से ज्ञान की ओर। Let's pray to God that we may continue to burn the auspicious light that may bring in happiness, prosperity, healthy long life to people of India and around the world. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, after lighting the lamp and praying to God, it is a time to move on with a small token of gesture to our esteemed dignitaries present today. As we say, अतिथि देवो भव, यही हमारी प्राचीन भारतीय परंपरा रही है. I would now request our respected DG and CEO, Shri Praveen Kumar sir, to kindly welcome our respected Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Shri Rajesh Verma sir, by presenting the shawl. He has joined us today to grace this occasion. Sir, आपका इस IICA प्रांगण में हार्दिक स्वागत है. We are honored to have you with us today, sir. बहुत बहुत स्वागत और अभिनंदन. Let's now welcome Aryan Deva from UNICEF. Very warm welcome to you, sir. May I request you kindly? Thank you. Thank you so much and warm welcome. May I request our DG and CEO, sir, to kindly honor Inderjeet Singh Dhariwal Saab, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Madam Nandita Mishra. Madam Anita Shah Akela. Ladies and gentlemen, this event is being witnessed by high-level officials from Ministry of Corporate Affairs. We have today with us Joint Secretary Inderjeet Singh Saab Dhariwal, Madam Anita Shah Akela, Joint Secretary, Madam Nandita Mishra from Ministry, and many others who are here witnessing this event, including Kamal Harjani Saab and Paula Rajan Saab. Joint Director, ICLS Academy and Central Registration Center, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. International and national experts of the different panels, officials from Haryana government, officials from the corporate world, academic institutes, banks, founders of the startup companies, our own faculty members and staff, and of course our beloved students of graduate insolvency program. We have participants from Rajasthan, Bangalore, Chandigarh, and Assam too. So ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for you all who could make it this happen today. The iconic day of AKAM at Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. कहते हैं कि तोड़ना है हर पिंजरा, तोड़ना है हर पिंजरा, मेरी उड़ान अभी बाकी है, मंजिलें जमी भर नहीं, पूरा आसमान बाकी है, समंदर की लहरें नहीं उसकी बेबसी, बाहर खामोशी ही सही, लेकिन भीतर कई तूफान बाकी हैं. Moving further, may I now request our respected DG and CEO, Shri Praveen Kumar, a dynamic leader who is a 1987 batch retired IAS officer of Tamil Nadu cadre and has headed various responsibilities in government of Tamil Nadu and government of India in multiple responsibilities and departments, to kindly address the audience.
Respected Chair, my esteemed colleagues on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have gathered here to celebrate the spirit of Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav on the last day of the week-long iconic celebrations being held by various institutions under MCA. Fortunate for IICA that it is bringing the finale of the week-long celebrations of this iconic week. At the outset, I would like to welcome our Honorable Minister of State, Rao Inderjit Singh, who kindly agreed to chair this inaugural session of this IICA celebration. He was to come physically for this meet, but because of certain unanticipated commitments, he could not be present here. But he was kind enough to register his virtual presence by sending a video message. We at IICA are grateful for this kind gesture. I would also like to welcome our Dynamic Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Shri Rajesh Sharma, for gracing the event with his presence. We are fortunate to have him at the helm of the ministry at this crucial stage when the sector is witnessing far-reaching changes, needing reassuring, guiding hands of his leadership. Once again, my heartiest welcome, Secretary Sir. I welcome the Deputy Representative from the UNICEF India, Shri Aryan Liwag, for sparing his valuable time. Our partnership with UNICEF adds an international flavor to our efforts in improving the corporate sector. Welcome, sir. My heartiest welcomes to the Joint Secretaries, Dhariwalji and Anita, and the Economic Advisor Nandita, for taking a time on a Sunday after a hectic AKAM week where they have been working like hard, and they have decided to come here and bless us with our presence. And also to Shri Manoj Pandeji, who will be joining us from the lunch session onwards. And I welcome among the audience all the respected dignitaries, government officials, exhibitors, GIP students, ICLS Academy students, and other participants for being here in celebrating the Azadi Amrit Mahotsav. And last but not the least, I would like to welcome our friends from media, without which our efforts would not have reached the public. As we all know, IICA is a unique institution in the world targeting the corporate sector. Perhaps there is no other institution in the world which is focused on the corporate sector per se. It is an autonomous body under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and it lies at the intersection of being an academic institution, a training institution, and a research institution. It is tasked with the role of capacity building of participants in the corporate sector, be it board level members, below board executives, or mid-level executives. The courses are on multiple subjects such as corporate law, competition law, market regulation, corporate governance, compliances, financial intelligence for non-finance executives, CSR, ESG, MSME, PPP, procurement, you name it, it is there. And even if it is not there, we design new courses based on the market demand. Like recently, IIFCL wanted a 2-day program on RBI compliances for finance executives. Within 1 week, we designed a program and we had a complete residential course 2 days program held here at a short notice. And IIFCL top management was so happy because that's one of the compliance requirements. So any corporate making any demand for any training, whether for capacity building or for satisfying compliances, we rise to the occasion. And the faculty here comes forward because that's an additional work from the regular things they do, but they come forward and do the needful. Further, IICA aims to create professionals in various areas, individuals who can act as experts in the areas such as insolvency, valuation, mediation, corporate social responsibility, and we have extensive 9 months, 1 year, 2 years programs for them. And today we are also launching a program for a new area, ESG professionals. We also act as a think tank of the government and give our inputs on policy matters. Our inputs have led to several policy guidelines such as those on CSR and that on guidelines for responsible business conduct. We carry out research activities and we have tied up with universities for starting PhD programs, and one is already underway. We also maintain the independent data bank, a unique initiative of MCA, where all actual and potential independent directors are registered and is a ready resource for any company to use if they want to source independent directors. We also provide consultancy services to the corporate sector in various areas such as CSR, etc. Advocacy is one of the important objectives of IICA. We connect with the corporate sector on various issues such as governance, CSR, ESG, and other items of their interest. And as part of our effort to popularize effective CSR program amongst corporate and not be a checkbox CSR that we have to do, so we have done it. We have kept the main theme today as CSR and ESG. ESG being a new concept which we would call as a CSR plus, going much beyond CSR and encompassing the environment and society as a whole. Towards that end, we are having a ESG CSR exhibition and a high-level panel discussion on the subject. These two terms, CSR and ESG, relate to the social responsibilities of the businesses to try to convey the message that the bottom line is not the last word in running a company. And corporates are expected to play a much greater role as responsible citizens of the country. For the exhibition on the subject today, we had an enthusiastic participation and we had a request for more than 50 companies to participate for setting up the stalls, for demonstrating the CSR practices. We went through a analysis based on the maximum impact which they could do. Based on that, we had chosen 28 exhibitions which you have seen here outside. And the representation of the country, exhibition is cross-cutting. From the smallest firms in the locality to the biggest firms in the country, all are there, you could have seen it. And from local to global, I mean, that's the kind of a spectrum of companies which have come here. Hope that these best practices act as inspirations to others for taking up CSR activities which have a meaningful impact on the society. And we hope that the course being launched on ESG will help in demystifying the ESG landscape and integrate the same into the core business operation. It should become a part of the core business and not a peripheral thing to be looked at some ED as an additional charge. Today, we will also be launching a compendium on the ESG CSR benchmarking best practices that will provide an opportunity to the readers to learn from the ESG and CSR practices of the companies. The second panel discussion we are having today is on corporate governance, evolving vision of New India. The past decade has seen a number of reforms in corporate governance, making it more transparent and at par with global norms. But there is a need to further strengthen the corporate governance ecosystem in India. Our Honorable Prime Minister has also stressed on the need of us planning for the year 2047, the 100th year of Indian independence, called Amrit Kal by him. In the panel discussion, we'd like to look into what will be the requirements of corporate governance in the year 2047. Apart from eminent panelists, we have adopted an innovative approach this time, and we called for an essay competition on the subject amongst youth and college graduates. The winners would be, there was enthusiastic participations, and the winners would be presenting the vision today during the panel discussion. This gives us a chance to look at what youth thinks, the youth for which the future belongs, thinks about what they think about the 2047. The third panel discussion is on financial inclusion and literacy for women. Traditionally, women face discrimination and are disproportionately vulnerable. That can be taken as evident fact. We don't need a study or any proof for that. Still, a study by IICA was done on financial capability in 2018. It covered around 11,000 plus respondents over 20 states and 20 cities. It revealed that women are disproportionately, much more disproportionately financially illiterate compared to men. And most of them are outside the formal financial structures of the country, indicating that we need, a very need of this day is to have a drive for financial inclusion and financial literacy. Financial inclusion provides women the tools for accumulating assets, generating income, managing financial assets, risk, and fully participating in the economy. Hope the panel discussion leads to useful policy suggestions for furthering the cause. As we see, all our topics have many opportunities which are still to be untapped. With this panel discussion, I hope constructive outcomes will arise, which will help in strengthening the Indian corporate scenario. Once again, I welcome you all for the day-long events and hope you have an intellectually and emotionally satisfying time here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Our DG and CEO, retired and joined IICA. He was working as Secretary, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. IICA is trying to align itself to the new generation and positioning the organization for the future under his leadership. IICA is moving away from hierarchical thinking to functional thinking focusing on the accountability of the rules. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your blessings and your encouraging thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, we have today with us special guest from UNICEF, Mr. Arjan Dewak. Mr. Wak, a national of the Netherlands, has over 25 years working experience and has been with UNICEF for past 20 years. He holds a master's degree in nutrition and he was the UNICEF Global Coordinator on Orphans and Vulnerable Children. May I now request you, sir, to deliver the special address, please.
Good afternoon. Secretary MCA, Joint Secretary, officials, DG and CEO, IICA, business partners, colleagues, good morning. And as UNICEF, we're very proud to be with you here today. Congratulations to the government of India and the partners in the celebration of this day, the iconic day celebrations. And as UNICEF, we are a very proud partner of working with MCA, but also with IICA, and contribute to the important agenda of ESG, environmental, social, and governance. And collectively work with IICA on sustainability, and why it's foundational for business. It's heartening to see that the Indian government is committed to providing guidance and support to businesses for the promotion of responsible and ethical business practices, and including children in that one as well. I don't know how many of you already had an opportunity to have a look outside at the exhibitions. I didn't count exactly, but I think about half or maybe 60% of them had something about children, supporting health or education. Azadi centers I saw anemia reduction, I saw working with young girls on different aspects. And it's definitely something that we as UNICEF would strongly encourage. Let me share a few points with you today. Businesses have a vital role to play in shaping the society, the environment that we live in. Business policies, practices, governance mechanisms, carbon footprints, products, services, marketing, advertising, and CSR spends all influence the lives of communities, of families, and that is where the children are. So you are, in every aspect that you as businesses do, you are affecting the life of children. And through that one, the next generation, and the generations thereafter. In India, the national guidelines on responsible business conduct is a welcome and much needed step by the government of India, encouraging businesses to focus on responsible conduct through their investment in society and social goods, the environment, and also internally through good governance mechanisms. For corporates today, it's not all about profit. It's about people, planet, and profit. And I hope in that order, at least not profit first. But anyway, the 3 P's, people, planet, and profit. There's a strong connect between UNICEF and the ESG agenda. UNICEF strives to achieve the objective of a world where every child enjoys a wholesome childhood. A world fit for the child today, and a world fit for a child today is a world fit for everyone in the future. We need to remember then when a business thinks about people and planets along with profits for tomorrow, they also need to invest in children today. And I would say this PPP, this profit, people, planet, or the other way around, planet, people, profit, the 3 P's, should not go without the C of children. UNICEF traditionally works with governments. We provide technical support and guidance, sharing ideas, experiences from other countries with governments to strengthen service delivery, services, critical services for children, from education to health to water sanitation, nutrition, child protection services. And we believe that ultimately there are parents, families, communities, and government that are responsible to looking after children. I would even say it in that order. First, parents, communities. And where communities fail, the government has to step in and support. But also business policies and practices can have a tremendous impact on children. Positive, but also negative. Therefore, UNICEF invests in building partnerships with the private sector, but also with partners like IICA and others that can mobilize, inspire, and guide businesses to get engaged, to create awareness and to promote actions for businesses to ensure people and planet, along with profit tomorrow, but putting the investment for children today. Free peace, but not without the sea. Business practices should not harm the environment. They should not harm climate. They should not harm communities, families, and children. Actually, they should do the opposite. Core business can do a lot of good. Organizing your core business such that there's a spill-off in improving the environment, reducing impact on climate, and promoting the life of communities. But also, besides your business practice, you also have your CSR, your cash. And a lot of examples already said. I was very happy to note the tremendous CSR that is putting children at the center. But maybe we can even do more there. But also look internally. Look at your employees. Employees are also people, communities. They also have families. And what are we as employers doing to also support that they can do the best for children while they're working for our businesses? So it's about businesses, it's about the cash, the CSR, and it's also about the employees. Can we educate them about certain practices, healthy practices for children? Can we create an environment that they can really continue going home to also provide care for the children when needed? For instance, when the child is ill. Over the years, we have actively worked with IICA for research and capacity development programs, for facilitating inputs into the business responsibility and sustainability reporting framework, and also enhancing the uptake of the national guidelines for responsible business conduct. UNICEF remains committed to the ESG agenda in India because that agenda can benefit children. Every child, every boy, every girl. The ESG CSR exhibition today is indeed a reminder of some of the excellent work that's already happening, and also inspires others on what is possible and how, indeed, we can look at the sea of children. And as UNICEF, we look forward to continue working with IICA and MCA in this regard. I leave you again all with this thought. First of all, congratulations and thanking that you do not only look at the P of profit, but that you look at people, planet, and profit together. And while you invest in people and planet and profit tomorrow, please invest in children today. The free peace should not go without the sea. I thank you very, very much, and thank you for having this as a partner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming and gracing this occasion with your encouraging words and sharing your views. Gaining knowledge is the first step to wisdom, and sharing it with others is the first step to humanity. Thank you for your valuable ideas and about the initiatives being taken by UNICEF. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, under the aegis of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, its foundation stone was laid down on November 9, 2009, and it was inaugurated on the auspicious occasion of Baisakhi, that is on April 13, 2012. This year, IICA will be completing its 13th year. I would now request our respected Secretary Sir Shri Rajesh Verma ji to kindly release the short film on IICA depicting the major areas of corporate affairs program being carried out by the dedicated team of faculty, heads of the center and the IICA staff under the dedicated leadership of our DG and CEO. May I request the IT team to kindly.
The world today is powered by knowledge, and the corporate sector juggernaut in India is bulleting ahead, gathering gigantic loads of information in its multinational incarnation. This garnering of knowledge and the growth it promotes is aided by progressive and enabling government that has revamped and overhauled the systems, bringing in fresh energy and direction. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs, in the role of developer of skills, knowledge, and delivery for the corporate sector, strengthened its agenda and transitioned from being responsible to being responsive towards the needs of the sector. The Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, firmly established as the cusp of government, corporate, and implementing agencies, was conceptualized by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs to roll out its mandate of growth with exemplary leadership and state of the art facilities. IICA provides developmental inputs to all its stakeholders from internal research and numerous onboard expert panels. These services are now also available for access by global beneficiaries.
Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs is a unique institution, not only in the country but perhaps in the entire world, which is focusing uniquely on the corporate affairs of the country. It acts as a think tank, a consultant, advisor, not only to the government but also to the entire corporate sector, public and private. It has a number of schools and centers focusing on different areas of corporate affairs, and the ambition is to convert it into an institution of excellence which is regarded worldwide as the best in this sector.
IICA offers consultancy services to a wide spectrum of chambers like FICCI, CII, SHAM, PhD, CCI, and professional bodies such as ICAI, ICMAI, ICSI corporate bodies, and consortiums. Since its inception, IICA has worked tirelessly towards creating a cadre of trained professionals through trainings and certification in business related skills, thereby contributing to the ease of doing business. IICA's School of Corporate Governance and Public Policies plays the role of an educator as well as an enabler. It strives to change the face of corporate governance in India through strong academic content, globally accredited certificate programs, research and survey supported by its connect with international institutions, training programs, and conferences. The foray into visible and continuous growth continues with School of Finance engaging in executive education, research, consulting, and advocacy on contemporary financial and regulatory issues like valuation, mediation, investor education, banking, public-private partnership, financial reporting, and risk management. Governance would be incomplete without knowledge and adherence to the word and the spirit of law. In this context, the School of Corporate Law conducts research in contemporary areas, develops and imparts training in corporate regulation with an understanding of the related statutory, legal, and regulatory framework. The School of Competition Law and Market Regulation deals with policy, law, and practice of market regulation in terms of evolving competition law and policy and the impact of regulation on competitive market structure in various sectors. School of Business Environment has a core mandate to work in the areas of environmental, social, and governance, corporate social responsibility, and business and human rights. The school aims to strengthen the responsible business ecosystem in the country through research, advisory, and policy advocacy, create knowledge, and disseminate by means of publications, conferences, workshops, and capacity building programs. The Center for Insolvency and Bankruptcy has been set up to promote research, develop a holistic approach to professionalizing education and training in the realm of insolvency and bankruptcy laws within the larger context of society and the economy. The center is also conducting a 2-year regular full-time program for insolvency professionals called the GIP, which is the first of its kind program for those aspiring to take up the discipline of insolvency professional as a career or seeking to take up other roles in the value chain in Indian and in foreign jurisdiction. Corporate social responsibility is one of the niche areas in which IICA specializes. In order to carry out its mandate, the IICA provides a complete range of advisory services to corporations. The advisory services provided by Center for E2E in CSR provides a host of back-end services to the corporate and implementation agencies, act as a one-stop shop and provide end-to-end or E2E CSR advisory services like CSR policy development, establishing baseline needs assessment studies, social impact evaluation, social return on investment studies, and capacity building. The Center for MSME supports the development of micro, small, and medium enterprises by building up the capacities of MSMEs and chambers of commerce and industries to provide improved and sustainable services to the MSME sectors. Center for Independent Director conducts capacity building and professionalization of independent directors. The Center for Business and Human Rights offers advanced expertise in responsible business, business and human rights, and stakeholder engagement for aligning business strategy with business responsibility to respect human rights. The center provides policy advocacy,
research and advisory support to multiple stakeholders for strengthening the business and human rights framework. Center for Investor Education and Protection offers advocacy and research support to IEPF Authority and
other leading stakeholders in the domain. Institutional Partnerships and Corporate Communications is a cross-cutting service center. The center facilitates collaboration and communication needs for IICA schools and centers. The ICLS Academy has the responsibility of conducting induction training programs for ICLS probationary officers selected through the UPSC Civil Services examination. The Academy provides orientation, professional knowledge development, skill enhancement programs, and certain mandatory programs to more than 1,500 officers, ICLS cadres, subordinate cadre, senior technical assistants serving in the field offices of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The highly active and industry interface centers at the IICA include a knowledge resource center that supports a comprehensive and competent knowledge management system. The primary purpose of this system is to leverage collective wisdom and to provide easy access to knowledge repositories through most modern facilities. At IICA, we have the state-of-the-art 14-acre campus, which houses an imposing 8-storied administrative building, residential and hostel facilities, and a state-of-the-art sports complex that includes a top-notch gym, a clay badminton court, and a world-class billiards room. While effectively taking solutions from lab to land in the sector, it is also functioning as a one-stop total solution provider for the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And IICA is all about inclusive growth. IICA is striving to follow the mantra, reform, perform, and transform of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for releasing this film. As we move further, ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, Ministry of Corporate Affairs and IICA is celebrating the Azadi Amrit Mahotsav to commemorate 75 years of independence. To mark this occasion, an All India essay competition was organized for the Indian youth with an aim to engage them in thought leadership process for the corporate ecosystem of the new vibrant India. The topic of the essay competition was corporate governance, evolving vision for the new India. The contest was open for all the students and young professionals up to the age of 30 years in bilingual language, that is Hindi or in English. Tremendous response for this competition was received in terms of entries. The essays received were evaluated through a two-tier blind review process. Shortlisting was then done by our external members. The selection criteria was based on the creative, innovative, influential, and relevant to the contest theme. We are now going to announce the winners. The three selected winners are, Dil Tham ke baithiye. I am announcing the second runner-up first, Mr. Sartaj Singh from Chandigarh. Although he could not able to join us today, but we will certainly sending the award amount to him. May I now request all the dignitaries to come forward to felicitate our winner, the first runner-up, Miss Nandini Agarwal from Assam. Check. She is being felicitated with a memento, certificate, and a check. And now, the winner of this event, Mr. Samyak Sangvi from Ahmedabad. So they will be talking about their essays in our first technical session, which is being chaired by Inderjeet Singh Dhariwal Saab, our Joint Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Sir, please be seated. Sir, we will be releasing the book. Sustainable development means taking a holistic view of the life, where people profits by individuals or companies and the preservation of planet are interconnected and mutually affect one another. Sustainable development aims to strike a balance between economic development, environmental conservation, and promotion of equity, also called the 3 E's of sustainable development. A compendium on ESG CSR best practices has been edited and compiled by Dr. Garima Dadij, Associate Professor and Head of the School of Business Environment, and her dedicated team, Dr. Ravija Atre. May I request all of them? The book provides an opportunity to readers to learn from the environment, social governance, and corporate social responsibility practices of the companies of different size and sectors. Thank you, sir, for inaugurating this book. This book caters the concept of sustainability and CSR together while distinguishes their essence as per Indian requirements. Thank you for releasing, sir. As we move further, now may I request our Secretary, Shri Rajesh Verma, sir, to kindly come and share his words of wisdom and enlighten with his thoughts with his special address. Shri Rajesh Verma, sir, is 1987 batch IAS officer of the Odisha cadre. He is a graduate in electric engineering from IIT Delhi and an alumni of National Defence College, New Delhi. He is currently serving as the Secretary of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. In addition to his current appointment, Shri Verma also serves as a part-time member of the Board of the Securities of Exchange Board of India and ex-officio chairman of the Investor Education and Production Fund Authority. We welcome you, sir, and we are honored with your presence today. May I request you to kindly have your special address.
Good morning to all. My colleague, DG and CEO, Mr. Praveen Kumar, Mr. Aryan De Wak, Deputy Representative, UNICEF, my colleagues in the Ministry on the dais, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the final day of our week-long celebrations of this iconic week for the Ministry of Finance and Corporate Affairs. We started our journey on 6th of June and we are ending this week long celebrations in this beautiful campus of IICA. We started with the program which was inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister, and next day, 7th of June, we had iconic day for the entire ministry where all the organizations were there in the Vigyan Bhavan inaugurated by the Honorable Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister. All the organizations, and in fact, we have been attending all these programs during the entire week. In fact, we have attended many other programs in the run-up to this week. This is to commemorate the 75 years of India's independence and prepare ourselves for the Amrit Kal, which is the 25 years when India at 100 in 2047. So we have to take stock of what our progress has been during last 75 years and also look forward to the next 25 years to take India to greater heights. IICA has been doing commendable job and has organized many programs in this Azadi Amrit Mahotsav. They have done exceptionally well in organizing these programs. I congratulate IICA and its entire team for actively participating in all these programs and organizing all these programs. Indian economy, the corporate sector is one of the key drivers of the Indian economy. They have also played a very key role, significant role in the remarkable growth story of India, and they continue to make exceptional contribution to ensure that the economy keeps attaining greater heights. Ministry of Corporate Affairs provides basically an enabling framework for the corporates in order to make them effective contributors to the national development. The ecosystem which we have been developing has evolved over a period of time. In fact, earlier it was not even a separate ministry. We are part of law and company affairs and then finance, and then now it has come as a separate ministry because the activities have really encompassed a huge vast area of corporate governance. And after the enactment of the Companies Act 2013, really the activities and in the field of corporate governance have increased many-fold, multiple folds. We had, in fact, the LLP Act prior to that in 2008 and the Competition Act 2002. But the game changer was the IBC, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. And after that, a lot of organizations have been added, have come up because of all these changes in the law enactments. The latest being NAFRA, which we attended yesterday, the program in 2018, October. But after IICA, the NCLT, NCLAT, IPFA, IBBI, so many organizations have come and they are all needed and we are still growing. So the ministry is engaged in providing the policy environment, the ecosystem for the good corporate governance, which is not limited to only making profits, but it is also the responsibility of the corporates to take all the stakeholders along, whether it is shareholders, employees, or even immediate neighborhood, the environment, the less privileged groups, and the nation as a whole. So, it is very important to provide a nourishing ecosystem which will not only takes care of the today's requirement but also future requirements. So that is why the focus, and in fact today's focus has been is on ESG and CSR. Very happy that the very good response to the exhibition, which I am told almost 50 companies wanted to set up, but there was space for only 28. We selected and 28, and we've gone through these stalls and a lot of activities. There is a lot of enthusiasm in the corporates to actually take up these various CSR initiatives all across the country. And more than 1.2 lakh crores has been spent in last 7 years, ever since the CSR started in 2014, 1st April 2014. And more than 25,000 companies almost every year contribute towards CSR. And the contribution has not dipped even during the COVID period. It is almost maintained at the same level it was just prior to the COVID. So the corporates have taken up this responsibility quite the mandate. It has been mandated under the law, of course, and for that, in order to actually take forward this initiative, we have the National CSR Data Portal. We have National CSR Awards, which IICA actually organizes the entire gamut of activities around the National CSR Award, the evaluation of the award, the organization of the award ceremony, and I think very soon we are going to publish advertisement for the next series of this National CSR Award. In fact, on 7th of June, on our iconic day for the ministry, we had launched a National CSR Exchange portal also, which was launched by the Honorable Union Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister. And this will actually strengthen the CSR ecosystem, because this will make the matchmaking of the implementing agencies and the corporates. They can put their projects and really take advantage of the digital system which has been provided. Apart from the CSR, another important program which is run by IICA is Independent Directors Data Bank, and which is a very ready repository for the companies actually to enlist the independent directors who have a major role to play in good corporate governance. So that is another good initiative taken by the IICA. Of course, there are other initiatives which we have seen in the film today. The entire gamut of activities, and also narrated by the DG and CEO in his speech about various activities, particularly the GIP program, which is really doing well under the insolvency school of insolvency, and that program has really come up very well, and I'm told the placement is also quite good. It is really popular, catching up. Responsible governance of corporates requires a constant emphasis on ethics, transparency, and accountability. And with these objectives in view, in fact, we have various standards and disclosures. We have, through the Indian accounting standards, which we have imposed in the financial reporting. So that is very important for the corporate governance. But the objective of MCA has been to ensure that reporting goes beyond financial numbers and should reflect the actual achievement in good corporate governance. In fact, the journey for this started with the issuing of National Voluntary Guidelines. I think sometime in 2009, we had issued these guidelines, which were later on evolved into National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct, NGRBC, in 2011. And today we have, of course, the business responsibility and sustainability report BRSR on ESG parameters. This is the standard which has been now made mandatory for top 1,000 listed companies by the for this financial year from 2022 to 23, and it's voluntary for other companies, but made mandatory by SEBI for the top 1,000 listed companies. So these policies of CSR, ESG, BRSR, they focus on self-governance, but the flexibility is given to the corporates. Uh, like in CSR, we have this mandatory 2% of the net profit for the societal benefits, but the corporates are free to take up these projects. It is not that we have a broad list, Schedule 7 in the Act, but and we have certain funds and certain contributions, also contribution route is also opened for them. So the corporates are free to take up these projects in any part of the country, but preference to the local area, of course, which we saw in the exhibition that many of them are giving preference to the local area and they are taking up the projects surrounding the areas where they are actually having the manufacturing facilities and other uh, units. Similarly, in BRSR also, they have to perform on ESG parameters, but still there is a lot of discussion on how to actually they choose to perform. Corporate social responsibility, now businesses have realized that what is good for environment, what is good for society is also good for the sustainability and growth. So this is this realization which has come. This is a marked shift, and companies they know they can gain competitive advantage if they include social and environmental considerations in their strategies. Indian entrepreneurs and businesses also, in fact, we have a long tradition in India of working within the values which are now the ESG and CSR. But India always had this, even the ancient tradition of larger objective of serving the overall social objective and well-being of all the stakeholders. This is part of the ancient Indian culture also. So this flows very smoothly into the corporate governance framework for the Indian companies. Today's program, of course, is focused on CSR and ESG initiatives being taken. I really congratulate the Institute for organizing this program. I'm confident that the companies which are present today and other stakeholders who are present today and those who are participating virtually and through these sessions which we are organizing, technical sessions in the afternoon, through the discussion, we'll have innovative ideas that will help India in becoming strong, developed and inclusive. Thank you all and wish you all the best. Wish all the IICA all the best in its future endeavors and wish this program all the success. Thank you.
Many thanks, sir. Thank you so much by sharing your valuable ideas and the government initiatives on various projects and plans. Taking these valuable suggestions forward and building on the work that has already been taken care by most of my colleagues, I assure you, sir, that IICA will be recognized as one of the best institutes in the corporate affairs and other allied areas. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your ideas which could really make the system much better in coming days. So you will be hearing other panelists during our panel discussions. We have various technical sessions. The first panel discussion is on corporate governance, evolving vision of new India, where our respected Inderdeep Singh Dhariwal Sahab will be chairing the session and he will be talking about corporate governance. The second technical session is on impactful CSR towards strengthening ESG, where Madam Anita Shah Akila will be sharing her views We have the third panel discussion on financial inclusion and literacy for women, where the special address will be delivered by Sri Manoj Pandey Saab, Joint Secretary MCA and CEO IEPF. So please do stay with us. Now, Government of India has taken various initiatives, as Sir has said, including revisions of the existing regulatory framework and also committed nationally and globally to achieving the SDG goals. Ladies and gentlemen, now it is the time for me to take the opportunity to inform you all that our Honorable Minister of State, Rao Inderjeet Singh Saab, who could not make his physical presence, but he has shared his blessings through the recorded video. I request our IT team to kindly play the message, please.
Shriman Praveen Kumar, DG, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the Amrit for our nation on 75th Independence Day celebrations under Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav. The government's aim to fulfill Vision India at 100 by achieving specified milestones in Amrit Kaal includes focus on growth and all-inclusive welfare, promoting technology and development, energy transition and climate action, and increasing private and public capital investment for the country's growth. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs is committed to making this vision a success. This ministry, being placed at the intersection of government and corporate sector, is ideally placed to harness the corporate potential in fulfilling this vision. Towards this end, our ministry has been focusing on promoting good corporate governance in the country. This has further facilitated ease of doing business in the country. Government lays strong emphasis on the reinforcement of minimum government, maximum governance, public trust, and ease of doing business. The government has repealed over 25,000 mandatory compliances and nearly 1,500 outdated union laws. The Amrit Kaal will focus on the next phase of ease of doing business and ease of living, and the government is following the goal of trust-based governance to improve the productive efficiency of capital as well as of human resources. While targeting this, government is conscious that growth needs to be inclusive and that nobody should be left behind. For this, corporates will also have to be a partner. And while focusing on increasing profit and turnover, they should also see that the society also gets a stake in the movement. For this, corporates need to focus on sustainable development and not merely growth and development. Sustainable development is now recognized as a fundamental right of the people. The Supreme Court of India has held that sustainable development is to be treated as an integral part of life under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs also made remarkable contributions in these domains by introducing corporate social responsibility and the National Voluntary Guidelines on Social, Environmental, and Economic Responsibilities of Business, and also an updated version of National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, has mandated business responsibility and sustainability, reporting on top 1,000 listed companies by market capitalization. The foundation of BRSR is inspired by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs report on business responsibility reporting, BRR, and national guidelines on responsible business conduct. This move towards sustainability and social consciousness started with the concept of corporate social responsibility, which was brought in through a statute. Ministry of Corporate Affairs has also introduced more comprehensive provisions in the recent past. It has led to companies more actively participating in getting solutions to societal challenges. Companies' contribution to the social development has gained traction in the country and is leading towards a revolution in global history. The CS is just a small sample of what the corporate sector is capable of doing and is actually doing. I congratulate the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs for facilitating such platforms for exhibiting great work done by companies. It not only motivates others to learn from best practices in the respective sectors, but also encourages those who relentlessly work in achieving excellence. I congratulate all the companies participating in the ESGCSR exhibition and also those who have arrived here to witness these excellent contributions. The essay competition organized by IICA is also a great example of integrating the student community into the vision of Amrit. I was told that there was enthusiastic participation and the three winners would also be presenting their essays here in person. All the best to all the participants and I congratulate the three winners. The three panel discussions scheduled over the day are also on very relevant topics, and I hope all of them will lead to fruitful outcomes. At the end, I would like to remind all of us that as individuals, we also have great responsibility on our shoulders. Until individual mindsets don't change, massive revolutions are difficult. All of us also have to discharge our individual social responsibility, and only then will our country be prosperous and will we be able to attain the goals of inclusive and sustainable development. I wish this IICA's iconic day of AKAM all success. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, you have rightly said that all of us have to discharge individual social responsibility and only then will our country will progress and prosperous. And you also said we have great responsibility on our shoulders. Until individuals' mindset don't change, massive revolution are difficult. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your support, and we are greatly encouraged by your inspiring address and words of wisdom. It is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks to all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I, on behalf of IICA and all of us, would like to convey my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to our Honorable Minister Rao Inderjeet Singh Saab. Although he could not able to attend the program due to some last minute changes in his schedule, but he has shared his blessings through the video message and encouraged us by his inspiring thoughts. We are greatly encouraged and honored, sir. Thank you. My sincere thanks to respected Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Shri Rajesh Verma, sir. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time with us and that too on a Sunday. It is a proud privilege that you could spare your time today and we are extremely encouraged, sir. जब हमारे लीडर्स हमारे साथ होते हैं तो एक अलग ही जोश भर जाता है. I would like to express heartfelt thanks to Mr. Aryan Dewag from UNICEF for all your support, sir, and for being here with us today and gracing this occasion and for your inputs in taking the agenda forward of strengthening ESG CSR initiative at both national and international level and for your insights on the roadmap ahead. Your presence here is the testimony of your commitment towards ESG, SDG, CSR. Thank you, sir. I am extremely thankful to Madam Anita Shakila and Madam Nandita Mishra for gracing this occasion. You will be hearing their views during the panel discussions. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to Shri Indradeep Singh Saab. You will be hearing him in the next session, next panel discussion on corporate governance. Sir, we are highly thankful to you for joining us. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to our Director General and CEO, Praveen Kumar Sir, for his constant support and guidance. Thanks to his leadership and supporting, guiding, and encouraging us to organize this program in a well-planned manner. Thank you, sir. Yes, this was required. I'm extremely thankful to all my media friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to inform you that this event is live on many channels like YouTube, A1 TV, Doordarshan, and STV National. We are thankful to CEO Prasar Bharati. I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Mr. Sangwan, Joint Director DPRO, Mr. Babu from STV National, Sri Anil Lodhaji, Channel Head A1 TV, Sri Sarvesh Bhatt, and other print and visual channels for covering this event. I am sorry I might have missed few names, but it's a huge list, and due to paucity of time, it may not be possible to take all the names. I hope you will understand. I am grateful to my colleagues Dr. Garima Dadij and her team for their constant support in making this event a great success and leading from front for successfully organizing this event. I shall be failing my duty if I do not express my sincere thanks to the administration and IT department and for providing the logistics and IT support. Today, the social media is handled by a very young colleague, Mr. Anil, who has joined this institute very recently. Thank you. So it's a huge live social media which he is doing since morning. Last but not least, my sincere thanks to all the participants, dignitaries, students, and my fellow colleagues. May I now request all the dignitaries on the dais to please walk towards the media room for the media buy and request Dr. Neeraj Gupta, Associate Professor and Head Corporate Governance and Public Policy, to start the panel discussion on corporate governance, evolving vision for New India. The experts for the panel, as I already have mentioned, Shri Indradeep Singh Dhariwal Saab, Joint Secretary MCA, who will be the chair of this session, and Professor Ashish Bhattacharya, former professor, IIM Calcutta. He is with us today. Welcome, sir. And you will be also hearing the winners of essay competition. So, over to you, Dr. Neeraj Gupta, sir.